Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are live. It is 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Wednesday, July 16th, and this is the Seacoast Rivers Lab podcast, episode number 84. And man, we have our first repeat guest today, and it's a very, very special one for a very good reason. And we're going to get to that in a second. I want to welcome you all to the show. Hop into the chat room at sblpodcast.com. We got Sean spinning the ones and twos there, and going to be answering some questions and asking some questions. But I welcome you to the show, and I'm drinking the Spacetown Pale Ale from Kelson Brewing out of New Hampshire, and it's actually a pretty tasty brew. They're only a couple months old, but they're doing some good stuff. Beer buddy Ben subbing for Norm. What's happening?
What's up, guys? Good to be here. Happy to be a part of this. Follow me at BM Watts on Twitter. I am drinking Harpoon's Maple Tap Imperial Porter. Delish.
Someone
Love
did
that maple flavor.
Someone did their little homework assignment. Carl, I assume did the same.
Nope. Carla here, known online as Beer Babe at Beer Babe on Twitter. I'm actually I just grabbed a quick Sierra Nevada torpedo out of my fridge. Haven't had a chance to stock back up lately. I actually am overdue for a trip to the beer store.
All right. Mike, what's up, man?
Hey, not too much. Mike here, at Mo Meredith on Twitter. Happy to be here, and tonight I am rocking a Citra Victorious from Harpoon.
Nice, 100 Barrel Series. Well played, sir. Well played.
Indeed.
And we have Sean Jansen. What's happening, brother?
Yes, I'm Sean Jansen from TwoBeerGuys.com, and I'm currently rocking the Harpoon IPA can with some backup cans ready to go.
Oh, boy. Nice. Kind of like Rambo across the chest.
Little bandolier.
Exactly.
Sean's always known for having cans.
Okay.
Oh.
Listen here.
Gotta love them.
So again, for those watching live, hop into the chat room. We have a very special guest. If I had sound effects for this show, I'd do like a little time machine sign. But November 12th of 2012, episode number 13 of the podcast, we welcome Dan Kenary of Harpoon Brewery, and we welcome him back today. Dan, thank you very much for coming back on the show.
Thank you, guys. I'm delighted to be here. I'm having my old favorite Harpoon IPA, but mixing it up and having it in a Rich and Dan's Rye IPA glass. So, and I've got some cans of the Shandy for backup.
Oh, nice. Most excellent. So we have a big docket to get to, but let's start off with the big news that just came out. I believe it was last week. Yeah, it's not even a week ago. You guys published this. You guys announced that Harpoon is now an employee-owned company, and why don't you go ahead and just tell us how you got there, what this means for the brewery, and what we can expect.
Well, thanks for giving me the opportunity. I'm delighted to be here with all of you again. A lot's happened since that November date a year and a half ago, I guess it was, or almost 2 years ago. We started talking probably around that time, Rich Doyle and I, who started Harpoon 28 plus years ago, about what we wanted to do with the company. And we knew that was on the mind of some of our employees. We're not getting any younger. I'm 53, Rich is 54. So, there's a time in craft beer, as I think all you guys know, that everyone's getting knocks on the door and the windows and the phones and emails saying, are you interested in selling your business? Are you interested in taking some private equity money? All kinds of different options, right? So just over 2 years ago, I remember coming back from a trip and saying to Rich, I really think an ESOP is something we should look into. So we did. And we went up and talked to some great ESOP companies, King Arthur Flour up in Norwich, Vermont. They put us in touch with someone they'd used, and so we started to educate ourselves about ESOPs. And then we just put it on the shelf until about a year ago when Rich kind of said, you know what, the more I think about this, I think I'm kind of getting ready for some kind of liquidity event here and looking to make some changes, go to part-time, et cetera, et cetera. And so we looked hard at that point. For the next 6 months, we talked to investment bankers. We took more seriously the private equity guys, and at the same time, up on the ESOP, researching that as well. And in early March, we met as a shareholder group and made the decision overwhelmingly to pursue an ESOP. And for us, for me, it's a great, easy decision because as I thought about it, I'm like, wait a second, we've been doing this for almost 30 years, and the idea that we sell this business and we have all these incredible employees, both of our breweries, and then some stranger owns it, and even despite all the rosy things they tell you about how they're not going to change this or that, they're going to take care of your employees, that as soon as there's like one quarterly number missed, that all bets are off. And we've just all seen that play out way too many times, right? And the heart and soul of Harpoon is the people. And so it was just an easy one. And ESOP does three great things. It gets liquidity to shareholders who want liquidity. And after 28 years, Rich really deserved it. Number two, it provides for continuity of management and employees. And number three, it kind of is that framework for the future where people can stop asking the question now, what do you think Rich and Dan are going to do with the business? Because we've set it up with employee ownership. So we've had a very intense 6 months, got the deal closed, and announced it, as you said, a week ago right now. Right now we were drinking beers in the beer hall, high-fiving everybody and celebrating the announcement.
That's excellent. And now, from more of a so Harpoon, obviously, the umbrella company. Was there more work on either side? Either the Vermont side or the Boston side, or was it all pretty much the decision was made? Was it just easy?
Oh yeah, it's all the same company. So It's not like it was all the same business. So when we were making the decision, there's nothing's different between Boston or Vermont.
Okay.
So can you kind of just imagine that one of us is an employee of Harpoon and just kind of from the employee's perspective tell us what happens now?
Sure. So all of our full-time employees are eligible and will be in the plan, right? So you don't have to do anything other than stay employed to start getting shares. And the thing about it's one of these deals. I think when we first made the announcement, it's like, wow, that's pretty cool. We're not selling the company. There's some employee ownership thing, but we don't really get it. Then we've done kind of pretty intensive training ever since then. Like we've had mandatory 90-minute sessions in groups of 10 to 20 at a time to really explain to people what ESOPs are. And so folks understand it now. The employees don't pay anything. Basically, the company's leveraged itself. So the company borrowed money, set up this ESOP trust. The company lent the money to the ESOP trust. The ESOP trust went out and bought the shares from Rich and several other selling shareholders. And the ESOP trust holds those shares. And as the ESOP loan gets paid down over the next 10 years, whatever it is, those shares every year get allocated to employees. So employees, if they stay employed, they just get these shares. And every year, this is all regulated pretty intensely by the federal government. Every year we have to go out and hire a third-party valuation company to do a full valuation on our business and come back with a number saying, okay, you're worth this per share. So the employees will get a statement probably like in April or May every year saying, here's how many shares you were allocated, here's the price per share, here's what they're worth, here's how much you vested. So it's kind of a great gig for people, and it's the great for me. The idea that we could have some of our wonderful employees who've devoted their lives to the company, and now we'll have this nest egg. And if we do our jobs well, they'll have this nest egg that they can retire with that could give them financial security. That's a great thing.
Now, it mentions in the press release that Rich stepped down as CEO. Does that have any effect on the way the company runs or how you take your role now?
Yeah, Rich and I have been running Harpoon as a partnership for a very long time. He runs sales and marketing, I run operations and finance. But on all the big things, we just come together and make decisions. So Rich is stepping down from day-to-day responsibilities. He's no longer a shareholder, but he's staying involved part-time with the company, focusing on sales and marketing and some new business development stuff. So I'm talking to him still almost as much as I've ever talked to him, and we're working through kind of exactly how this is going to work. But I think we're both optimistic that it really can work. This Harpoon was a dream, an idea of Rich's 29 years ago. He's incredibly passionate about it, still close to a lot of us. And, I hope that we can kind of work our way forward here in a way that works for him and for the company. I'm very confident. So I'm picking up sales and marketing responsibilities. We've got, for those of you who know Harpoon, we've got some outstanding people, been with us a long time. We're all going to have to step up and do a little bit more.
Definitely. Anyone got any questions here?
I was just more curious of if you're an employee and you have your shares that have vested and you've already been awarded them. If you retired, are you still considered to be a owner of the company at that point, as if you had been a regular stockholder?
No, good question. The way that the transaction is, or the ESOP is structured, when you leave, you will have to sell your stock back to the ESOP, and we'll pay you cash for those shares. That's one way you make it a sustainable ESOP, so that you can have those shares for new employees over time. You expect there to be regular kind of, I don't know, regeneration or reuse of those shares as people leave. The shares get purchased by the ESOP, put back in the ESOP trust, and allocated to employees in the future. I'll tell you guys a story too. It's kind of about how we made the announcement. We have a regular monthly meeting every Wednesday, second Wednesday of every month, and we had all the sales guys in town for this meeting. And we said, let's have a special mid-year meeting, talk about the first half, get fired up for the second half. And so we said, we want everyone at the company to come to this meeting. We'll have a bus from Vermont, and we'll just make it kind of a special event. And people had started to notice some strangers around the office, and that Warren, our CFO, and I were kind of busy and distracted. So sure enough, everybody came into the beer hall, and they were a little bit more better behaved than usual for a Harpoon crowd. They paid attention. I said, okay, guys, get out from behind the bar and sit down. And so I said, I started out talking about the history of the company a little bit, what we created together, and people were, paying more and more attention. I said, I'm sure a lot of you have been asking the question of what Rich and Dan are going to do with the business, and tonight we're here to give you an answer. And people start kind of looking around a little bit more nervously, and I said, tonight we would like to introduce you to the new owners of a large minority stake in the Harpoon Brewery. But first I want a few of you guys to stand up, and I called out some random names. You can hear a pin drop at this point. And I said, please turn to the person next to you and shake their hand and introduce yourself. You're the new owners of the Harpoon Brewery, and the place exploded.
So awesome.
People were crying. It was a very memorable, special night.
Was there anyone it's like, I don't want to? No.
Yeah. Well, I did feel a little badly because some of the people came up. A few folks went to me afterwards and said, shit, we really thought that we were going to either be sold or you were announcing like a layoff or something.
Oh man.
Have been mistreated at other companies, and they bring that baggage with them. But they left very happy, and then we just kind of had a fun party.
Awesome.
That would have been the most brutal way to lay people off. Turn to the person to your left, they're gone. Let's move on.
New beers, let's do it.
Oh my God. Well, I actually have a question for you, Dan. So this is definitely unique in its sense, and I think the buzz in the beer community is like, bravo. It's awesome. It shows your dedication to your brand in the future. What's the reaction been to the ESOP in the beer community outside of Harpoon? Have you been hearing some buzz and some reactions?
Yeah. We've been hearing a lot of reaction to it in the community, and all very, very positive. There are a number of other craft brewers who've gone this route. New Belgium is 100% ESOP owned. Alaskan, Deschutes has about 8% ESOP. And Full Sail's been an ESOP for some time. And so, for those of us who've kind of been at this a long time and feel like the craft beer world and movement's in our roots, this is just a very natural thing to do. As I said, the idea of just selling out for top dollar, I didn't think of that. I didn't take that seriously for a half a second. It was like, we got to stay independent. We got to stay true to ourselves. We're all about love beer, love life, local roots, Boston, Vermont, New England. It just this really fit pretty well. Response has been outstanding in the beer world, and I think for some of our employees, the younger folks who maybe had a harder time wrapping their arms around us, they were very excited Wednesday night, but then when they read and saw and experienced the reaction Thursday and Friday, and social media, etc., they just said, "Holy shit, this really is something pretty special."
Absolutely. And what's the percentage ESOP owned?
48%.
48. Very nice.
We have every intention of becoming a 100% ESOP owned company in probably 5 to 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
From a big picture, how does the ESOP affect the management of the day-to-day business? I guess from the personnel day-to-day, it'd be like, hey, I own part of this business. I'll go clean the bathroom. It's my business too. Now there's a little bit more ownership in it rather than management necessarily telling me what I would need to do step by step. But sometimes in business you have to make a direction decision of where you're going to go and what is the really next big step for the business. How does the ESOP actually affect or integrate and work with those type of decisions?
Great question. We made the statement that night, and it's true. Funny thing about an ESOP is everything has changed, but nothing has changed, right? So, yeah, everyone now is an owner of the company. They will get the economic value of what we create. But as far as the day-to-day management of the business, we're really not looking at a lot of changes other than we would like, exactly how you started off your question, we want people to feel like they're owners. So, instead of, hey, it's someone else's job or this or that, we want folks to be realizing, like, you know what, I can do it. And you have some pretty powerful examples of that in the ESOP world, right? So let's say you're working on the bottling line and you come up with an idea that can save us $100 a week, right? Well, you multiply that times roughly 50 weeks a year, it's $5,000 a year. And then typically there's a multiple, right, that they apply to do these valuations of maybe 8 times. So all of a sudden you've created $40,000 of extra value for you and your fellow shareholders. So everybody can contribute in that way. And it's our job now as managers and owners of the business to make sure that people really understand that. I think another thing we talk about internally is there's not any room anymore at Harpoon for neutral people. We don't have a lot of neutral people anyway. But, some businesses you get almost the atmosphere can be poisoned by people that complain around the water cooler, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
Not only can't we have any complaints, and we don't have many of them at all, but people got to be kind of psyched to understand they've got a pretty good gig going here, or they should probably go get a job someplace else.
Well said.
Yeah, it's an easier way to weed people out that way.
Well, you know what? One thing I've always loved about our culture tends to weed people out. We ask, simple questions like, hey, we do that employee beer culture trip to Europe every year. Employees hit certain anniversaries of employment. You kind of look around and say, if you don't want to go to Europe and drink beer for a week with someone, they probably shouldn't work here.
Yeah.
I wish I worked with every company, though. It's the same thing. Oh, man.
So, Dan, branching off of the ESOP thing, which is obviously big news, for people who haven't tuned in since your last appearance, the beer hall is kind of new news. Granted, it was back in February for us locals. But what can you tell us about that, the addition of the beer hall to the Harpoon Brewery?
Beer hall's been an absolute home run for us. It was we opened in February of 2013, and it's been going gangbusters ever since that time. When we started the business all those years ago, we didn't do it just to make great beer. We had traveled in Europe and seen these great local breweries in the center of towns. And remember, I'm a really old guy, and back in my day, if you wanted to visit a brewery in the U.S., you went to some huge industrial park someplace in the middle of nowhere, right? There was very little charm. I mean, if you went to St. Louis, the original Bud Brewery, it was kind of cool, or this or that, but for the most part, you're going to like these nondescript factories someplace. But then when we went to Europe, it's like, holy shit, look at these great breweries in the center of town. We've always been about bringing people to the brewery and having them interact with us making beer. So the beer hall is kind of a culmination of that. And for us, people might think we're a lot smarter than we are, because if you've been to our Boston location, you know Boston at all. Where we are used to be an absolute dump. There was nothing out there. And in the 30 years, the whole city's moved out towards us, and it looks like we're really, really smart that we chose the location. We did know we wanted something close to downtown. So what we've ended up with is this great beer hall with a beautiful view of the city on one side and then a view of the brewery on the other at the edge of this kind of really hot, popular new restaurant nightclub district. And it's worked out wonderfully for us. And we're 5 minutes from Logan Airport, and we have 6,000 people a week coming to the beer hall and coming on tours. I mean, beer tourism is a great business, and to bring these, more and more people into the fold of craft beer is something we've always been about. So, long answer to your question, but the beer hall is awesome, and I invite anyone to come and see us and have a beer.
Oh man, and if you go, oh my God, it's such a big place where even when it's jam-packed, like, 'cause most times you walk into a brewery and you see a line out the door and you're like, this is got to be the longest afternoon, but you walk in and there's hundreds of people there, but there's plenty of room. It's one of the biggest places I've ever been to. It's crazy.
Awesome.
But let's segue out of that real quick. We only have about 5 minutes left, and I just want to know: is there anything new and exciting besides the two awesome things we just talked about? Is there anything new and exciting in the terms of any new beers or any new projects you guys are working on? You want to?
Well, I think someone here was having the Imperial Maple. And, that's kind of been a fun one. We just did the Imperial. We're just brewing, I think, the Imperial Pumpkin on Friday. We've got some fun things coming down the pike. We're going to do an India Pale Lager, I think in September. And we've got, it's new funky stuff is just so part of what we do now. That you come to the beer hall and we've got 3, 4, or 5 different taps. You go to the employee lounge, you've got another 6 taps with just this random great stuff that people have brewed. Someone else here was having the Citra Victorious.
That's me.
It's a great beer. I've been really enjoying that this summer. I think it's a terrific summer beer. And that was from our Kettle Cup competition, which we have every September. So we've got probably 18 to 25 teams of people in the brewery who will come together and do home brews, and then we choose it in our company outing in September. The winner goes into the 100-barrel series, which is what Citra Victorious was. It was 5 women brewers did that last year, and that's been a great beer for us.
Yeah, I see Carolyn, Jesse, Liz, Meryl, and Shannon. Am I correct?
Yep.
Right on the.
And the original name was Citra Ass Down. Was the name in the Kettle Cup when we did it. The marketing folks kind of cleaned it up for public consumption.
Well played. So, but before we get into our final question, and we do thank you for your time, we just want to give a shout out. We have our public chat room where people are dropping in. We have 4 or 5 folks there right now. We have BN Darkside, Steve. We have Mike, Johnny Beer, Rick Brews, and they all say best of luck. They've been chiming in the whole time, and I'm sure there's many more good lucks and congrats on there, but they specifically wanted to say congrats to you.
We know, guys, we couldn't have done any of this without all of you and the support we've gotten over the years from our loyal drinkers. So I owe you guys a big thanks.
We'll cash it in a couple. We'll be down there to
even become an owner. Then you can try to fire me.
Oh, okay, great. Kind of a good segue. And as our final question, then we'll let you go. Usually, since you've been on, we've been starting to ask brewers and owners what advice they would give to people that want to start breweries. But because of your situation, we wanted to ask any advice you'd give to breweries that want to become or start ESOP. Any advice on that?
Absolutely. What I found, they are incredibly complicated. You have to do a transaction. There were like 4 different sides in our deal: the company, the ESOP trustee, the banks, and the selling shareholders. It's a very complicated thing to do. Hire good advisors. Everyone in the ESOP world knows everybody else. That's another thing I've found out in the last 6 months. Like the advisors, the lawyers, the financial guys, the trustees, they all know each other. So, and they're like anything, they're different levels of quality. So just do your reference checks and make sure you hire, good quality advisors, because it's complicated. The government regulates it as they should. So, you want to make sure you do it right. And then the other thing I'd say, and we've got very good advice on this, is spend the time and make the effort to explain it very, very well to your employees. Because if they're going to become partners with you on this stuff, they got to fully understand it. I've been living in this world for 6 months. I still don't get it.
Sure.
So the idea that you're going to explain it in an hour to employees and they're going to understand it, that's not fair. So, ongoing thing. I'm hoping, I'll come back on if you'll have me in a year or so, and I'll tell you if it's borne fruit. I'm hoping we look back and say it was all absolutely worth it.
Oh, totally. Yeah, and please, you don't have to ask us. Just barge in whenever you're free on a Wednesday night. Just bust in like the Kool-Aid man and and come on the show. But and that puts us right at half an hour. And Dan, we really appreciate it. Do we have any final quick questions, guys, before we let Dan go for the night?
No, just thanks so much for doing that.
Yeah, thanks, Dan.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
So let's raise a glass to Dan, Rich, and Harpoon, and we hope let's not make it a year and a half this time. We'll see you in another year, huh?
You got it. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Appreciate it. And we'll send you the link to the show. And Dan, we really appreciate it. We'll let you go.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, Dan. Nice.
So real quick, again, the link is in the show notes for what just happened. Again, take a time machine back to 2012, and Dan's the man is the subtitle of this show. Any really quick things, because we're going to keep the show to half an hour, that's going on? Carla, I know Maine has a lot going on, but keep it to 2 bullet points this time. What do you got?
Brand new brewery opening this weekend, all barrel fermented beer called Barreled Souls. I'll be checking that out this weekend, and getting excited for beer camp that's happening up on the end of the month. That's all.
See, I think Maine should rename their slogan from Vacation Land to Beer Camp. Really? So I'll start.
Beer camp. I want to have a beer. Yeah.
Vacation camp, dude. All right, Mike. I know you're taking a trip, but how's the book going? I don't know anything about it.
I mean, if you guys haven't picked it up yet, you got to pick up your copy of New Hampshire Beer, Brewing from Sea to Summit on nhbeerbook.com. Buy the book. You get a signed copy from Brian and myself. $25 shipped.
Anywhere in the U.S., continental U.S.
Continental U.S., Hawaii and Alaska. We'll work on it.
Yeah.
But no, looking forward to it. Going to Milwaukee tomorrow with the work crew. Going to Miller Coors to drop in, say hi to our favorite clients, and yeah, looking forward to checking out Wisconsin for the first time.
Most excellent. Have some cheese for me.
Will do.
Sean, couple of bullet points. What do you got?
Just want to mention I'm not able to make it this weekend, but the annual Vermont Brewers Fest, Friday, Saturday.
Love that place.
Which is an epic festival in New England. It's probably one of the longest running festivals with, like, it sells out in like 15, 20 minutes every year. So if you get to go to that, send us a message and let us know how it was.
As the kids would say, that festival is amazing, because amazing is a new epic now in the world of memes. But Ben, do you want to give a quick sneak peek of what's going on with us in September? Is it worth doing a quick shameless plug? What's happening?
Yeah, why not? We're Brian and I are premiering a live podcast / audience interaction monthly jam get together throwdown.
Beer show.
It's going to be happening first Thursdays at 11 Craft Beer and Bread House in Somersworth, New Hampshire. We're going to be bringing the beer talk. We're going to be bringing some comedy, bringing some games. So come on out and see us starting September 4th. Again at the 11 Beer and Bread House, and so come on out every first Thursday of the month. Check that out. And I also have to plug the movie that I've been talking about every time I come on the show.
Get in there.
We have our big local premiere down here in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, at the Music Hall. We only have 800 seats to fill, so please go on and get tickets. musichall.org. Please come check it out. We're really excited about this. It's going to be a great event.
What's the
100
date?
Head Heart Feet. So, and
July 24th, Wednesday.
that's right. No, Thursday.
That's what I meant.
Yep.
Obviously, I meant that. So, yeah, and I'm going. So please, if you need any, good movie, sure, I can go see a good movie. But I'm going now, so come on in there. Maybe I just made some people not go, but yes, check it out. And Ben and I checked it out at what's the name of that place, Ben?
Frontier.
Where were we? Oh, the Frontier in Brunswick. Amazing, as the kids would say. It's awesome. Love the place. Great beer. I mean, great tap list. Check out my Instagram for what was going on tap. Couple quick things. If you're out and about Keene on Friday, I'll be at the Toadstool Books in Keene, which is attached to the Elm City Brewery. It's doing a little book signing. This weekend, I'm doing a little trip down to Connecticut, going to New England Brewing Company, OEC Brewery, and that's pretty much it. I do want to give a quick tip of the cap as we end the show to Carrie from originally from TapLister. For those that have used TapLister or seen TapLister as a mobile app, it was one of the best places and best ways to find out what's on tap in the area, whatever bar you're at. Unfortunately, the application had to shut down, and they're closing that up. You can check out. They just sent out a press release. It's also on their website. But I believe as of August, all operations are shutting down. But it was a hell of an effort. I mean, it was a huge undertaking for Portland alone. But he made some good waves here in Boston and the Portsmouth area. So I'm a fan. I mean, all of us here used Tap Lister a couple times, right? I mean,
Yep.
it was awesome. It's one of those things where it had to be updated by the people because Kerry's one man and had a small team. You can't update all the taps. So hopefully it comes back in some sort of reincarnation. But that's it. Anything else real quick before I shut her down? Awesome. Well, guys, we did it. Ben, thanks for stepping in for Norm. We're going to have you on every week instead of what do you got?
Just saying hi.
Just saying hi. But thanks for stepping in for Normie because he is just, classic Norm. But, guys, cheers to you, and we'll see you guys next week, episode 85. We're 15 away from the big 100. Later.
In the books. Yeah.